Imagine a life where every day brings you closer to your greatest potential. This isn't about luck or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about committing to learn, grow, and evolve every single day. Join us as we explore how a mindset of lifelong learning can transform your life, turning challenges into opportunities and dreams into reality. She stepped into a world that felt bigger than her, armed only with a hunger to learn. Without a guide, she let curiosity lead the way. Maybe she picked up a book that sparked new ideas or asked a stranger a question that opened her mind. People saw her eagerness and might say, "You're always so curious." Or, "You make learning look exciting." Her curiosity wasn't just a trait, it was her fuel. It pushed her to explore, to question, to seek answers beyond what she already knew. That spark, that drive to understand more, was her strength. It wasn't about knowing everything, it was about wanting to. Her open mind became a magnet, drawing opportunities and inspiring others to stay curious too. Every obstacle she faced was a chance to grow. When life threw her a setback, maybe a failed project or a missed opportunity, she didn't shrink back. She asked, "What can I learn from this?" Maybe she studied her mistakes or sought advice from someone wiser. People noticed her resilience and might say, "You always bounce back," or "You turn tough moments into growth." Her ability to see challenges as teachers, not barriers, was her power. It wasn't about avoiding failure. It was about embracing it as a step toward wisdom. That mindset, that refusal to let setbacks define her, made her radiant. Her growth through hardship wasn't just inspiring. It was a reminder that every challenge holds a lesson waiting to be learned. She found wisdom in the smallest moments. A conversation with a coworker, a documentary watched late at night, or even a quiet walk where she observed the world. Each was a classroom. People might have thought learning required a degree, but she knew better. They might say, "You always find something new to share," or "You see things differently." Her ability to absorb knowledge from everyday life was her gift. It wasn't about grand gestures. It was about staying open, noticing details, and asking questions. That hunger for insight, that commitment to growth, made her stand out. Her life became a tapestry of lessons, woven from the ordinary, proving that knowledge is everywhere if you choose to seek it. With every new skill or idea she learned, her confidence grew. Maybe she mastered a task she once feared or spoke up in a room full of experts. Each step forward built her belief in herself. People noticed and might say, "You carry yourself so well," or "You're not afraid to try new things." Her confidence wasn't loud, it was steady, rooted in her commitment to growth. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about trusting she could learn and adapt. That self-assurance, born from her pursuit of knowledge, was magnetic. It drew others to her, not because she had all the answers, but because she wasn't afraid to seek them, showing that true strength comes from a willingness to grow. She learned that standing still wasn't an option in a world that never stops moving. Maybe she embraced a new technology or adjusted to a shift in her career. Her ability to adapt set her apart. People might say, "You're so quick to learn," or "You handle change so well." Her flexibility wasn't about chasing trends. It was about evolving with purpose. It wasn't easy. Change brought uncertainty, but she faced it with curiosity. That willingness to adapt, to learn what was needed, was her strength. Her life became a testament to the power of growth, showing others that embracing change isn't about losing yourself. It's about becoming a stronger version of who you are. She learned that growth isn't always about grand leaps. It's in the small daily choices. Maybe she read a few pages of a book each night or practiced a new skill for just 10 minutes. Those tiny steps built her strength over time. People noticed her progress and might say, "You're always improving," or "You make growth look so natural." Her commitment to small actions wasn't about instant results. It was about consistency. Each choice to learn, to try, to move forward was a brick in the foundation of her success. That quiet dedication, that refusal to wait for perfection, was her power. It drew others to her, inspired by her ability to grow through steady, intentional steps, showing that every small effort counts. She faced the unknown with a bold heart, knowing growth lies beyond comfort. Maybe she took on a new role at work or explored a field she knew little about. Each step into uncertainty was a chance to learn. People saw her bravery and might say, "You're fearless," or "You make new things look easy." Her courage wasn't about being unafraid. It was about moving forward despite fear. That willingness to embrace the unknown, to trust she could learn along the way, was her strength. It wasn't about having all the answers. It was about seeking them. Her boldness became a light, inspiring others to step into their own unknowns, proving that growth begins where comfort ends. She turned every conversation into a lesson. Whether it was a chat with a stranger or a deep talk with a mentor, she listened with an open mind. Maybe she learned patience from a coworker or wisdom from an elder's story. People noticed her attentiveness and might say, "You really listen," or "You always learn something new." Her ability to find value in every interaction was her gift. It wasn't about seeking experts. It was about seeing everyone as a teacher. That openness, that hunger for insight, made her radiant. Her life became a collection of lessons, each one shaping her into a stronger version of herself, inspiring others to listen and learn from the world around them. She didn't let her past define her. She used learning to reshape her future. Maybe she studied a new skill to pivot her career or explored a passion that lit her soul. Each new piece of knowledge was a chance to reinvent herself. People saw her evolution and might say, "You're always growing," or "You've changed so much for the better." Her reinvention wasn't about escaping who she was. It was about becoming more. That drive to evolve, to use knowledge as a tool for growth, was her power. It wasn't about starting over. It was about building on her foundation. Her journey of reinvention inspired others, showing that learning can transform who you are and who you can become. She welcomed ideas that challenged her thinking. Maybe she read a book that shifted her worldview, or listened to someone with a different experience. That openness to new perspectives was her strength. People noticed and might say, "You're so open-minded," or "You always see things differently." Her willingness to question her beliefs, to learn from others' views, wasn't about losing herself, it was about growing. That flexibility, that curiosity for new ways of seeing made her magnetic. It wasn't about being right, it was about being open. Her ability to embrace diverse ideas became a light, encouraging others to expand their minds and grow through the power of new perspectives. She saw every mistake as a stepping stone, not a stumble. When she faltered, maybe a project didn't go as planned or a decision led to failure, she didn't dwell on shame. Instead, she asked, "What can this teach me?" People noticed her resilience and might say, "You always learn from setbacks," or "You never let mistakes stop you." Her ability to turn errors into lessons was her strength. It wasn't about avoiding failure. It was about using it to grow wiser. That mindset, that refusal to let missteps define her, made her radiant. Her growth through mistakes wasn't just inspiring. It showed others that every error is a chance to learn, a quiet power that transforms setbacks into opportunities. Her hunger for knowledge never faded, no matter where life took her. Maybe she dove into a podcast that sparked new ideas or took a course to master a skill. That relentless curiosity set her apart. People might say, "You're always learning something new," or "Your passion for knowledge is infectious." Her drive to keep learning wasn't about proving herself. It was about becoming more. That thirst for growth, that commitment to never settling was her power. It wasn't about reaching a finish line. It was about staying hungry. Her endless pursuit of knowledge became a light, inspiring others to seek wisdom and never stop growing, no matter how much they already know. Each new lesson she learned built her resilience. Maybe she faced a tough transition like a new job or a personal challenge and leaned on learning to navigate it. She studied, asked questions, and adapted. People saw her strength and might say, "You handle change so well," or "You're unstoppable." Her resilience wasn't about being unbreakable. It was about rebuilding stronger each time. That ability to grow through learning, to face challenges with a student's mindset, was her gift. It wasn't about avoiding hardship, it was about thriving through it. Her strength, forged in the classroom of life, inspired others to see learning as a tool for resilience, a way to rise above any storm. She found joy in the act of learning itself. Whether it was mastering a new recipe or understanding a complex idea, each discovery lit her up. People noticed her enthusiasm and might say, "You make learning so exciting," or "Your energy is contagious." Her joy wasn't tied to outcomes. It came from the process of growing. That delight in discovery, that spark of excitement for new knowledge, was her strength. It wasn't about achieving perfection, it was about embracing the journey. Her passion for learning became a beacon, showing others that growth can be joyful, a celebration of the mind's ability to expand and the heart's capacity to find wonder in every new lesson. Knowledge became her power, giving her control over her own path. Maybe she learned to negotiate with confidence or studied a subject that opened new doors. Each piece of wisdom gave her freedom to choose her future. People might say, "You're so empowered," or "You know so much." Her strength wasn't in having all the answers. It was in her willingness to seek them. That empowerment, rooted in her commitment to learning, made her magnetic. It wasn't about relying on others. It was about trusting herself. Her journey of self-empowerment through knowledge inspired others, proving that learning isn't just growth, it's the key to unlocking your own potential and shaping your destiny. She discovered that silence could be a powerful teacher. In moments alone, maybe during a quiet evening or a solitary walk, she reflected on her experiences. Those quiet pauses let her process what she'd learned, turning fleeting thoughts into lasting wisdom. People noticed her calm insight and might say, "You always seem so thoughtful," or "You have a way of seeing things clearly." Her ability to listen to her own mind, to find lessons in stillness, was her strength. It wasn't about avoiding noise. It was about embracing quiet to grow. That reflective nature, that depth born from silence, made her radiant. Her wisdom, honed in solitude, inspired others to seek clarity in their own quiet moments, showing that silence is a classroom of its own. She learned that growth often comes from sharing knowledge with others. Maybe she joined a discussion group or mentored someone starting out, finding that teaching deepened her own understanding. People saw her generosity and might say, "You make learning so engaging," or "You bring out the best in others." Her willingness to collaborate, to learn while teaching, was her power. It wasn't about knowing more than others. It was about growing together. That openness to shared growth, that ability to connect through knowledge, was magnetic. Her presence in group settings became a spark, encouraging others to exchange ideas and learn from one another, proving that collaboration can amplify personal growth in profound ways. Her curiosity never dimmed, no matter how much she learned. Maybe she explored a new hobby or asked questions about a culture unfamiliar to her. That endless desire to know more kept her vibrant. People noticed and might say, "You're always so eager to learn," or "Your curiosity is inspiring." Her lifelong curiosity wasn't about chasing accolades. It was about staying alive to the world's wonders. That passion for discovery, that refusal to settle for what she already knew, was her strength. It wasn't about being the smartest. It was about being the most open. Her relentless curiosity became a light, showing others that a curious mind is the key to a life of endless growth and possibility. She didn't just collect knowledge. She put it to work. Maybe she used a new skill to solve a problem at work or applied a lesson to improve her relationships. Her ability to act on what she learned set her apart. People might say, "You make things happen," or "You use what you learn so well." Her strength wasn't in knowing facts. It was in using them to shape her life. It wasn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It was about creating it. That practical approach, that drive to turn learning into results, was magnetic. Her actions, fueled by knowledge, inspired others to move beyond ideas and take steps toward their own goals. proving that learning is only powerful when applied. She learned that success isn't a destination. It's a journey of growth. Maybe she redefined her goals after a new insight or shifted her path to align with her values. People saw her evolution and might say, "You're always becoming better," or "You inspire me to keep growing." Her success wasn't about titles or wealth. It was about becoming her best self. That mindset, that focus on growth over achievement, was her power. It wasn't about reaching a peak. It was about climbing higher each day. Her journey of constant growth became a beacon, showing others that true success lies in the courage to evolve, to learn, and to embrace the endless possibilities of who you can become. She realized that growth sometimes meant letting go. Maybe it was an old belief, a toxic habit, or even a path she once thought was hers. Letting go wasn't easy. It came with uncertainty and pain, but it made room for something new. People might say, "You're so brave to walk away," or "You've changed," and it's beautiful. Her strength wasn't in holding on. It was in knowing when to release what no longer served her. She understood that growth wasn't just about adding. It was about subtracting with purpose. Each act of release became an act of rebirth, showing that letting go is not weakness. It's the wisdom to create space for something better. She discovered that being kind to herself was a form of growth too. Maybe she forgave herself for a past mistake or finally accepted a part of her she once judged. People noticed and might say, "You're so gentle with yourself," or "You glow with self-acceptance." Her self-compassion wasn't about avoiding growth. It was about creating a safe space to grow from. That kindness, that warmth she showed herself, gave her strength to keep evolving. She learned that healing and growing aren't separate. They're intertwined. And in loving herself through the journey, she gave others permission to do the same. She became a quiet observer, realizing that the world teaches in whispers. Maybe she noticed how a leader handled stress, or how a friend navigated grief. People might not have seen her taking notes, but they felt her wisdom. They'd say, "You always understand things deeply," or "You see what others miss." Her learning came not just from books or teachers, but from watching life unfold around her. That awareness, that attentiveness was her strength. She saw the details others overlooked, and each observation became a stepping stone in her journey, proving that growth doesn't always shout. It listens, watches, and absorbs. She stopped fearing discomfort and started seeing it as a sign she was growing. Maybe she said yes to a challenge that scared her or finally faced a truth she'd avoided. People noticed her courage and might say, "You always rise to the occasion," or "You grow through everything." Her strength wasn't in staying comfortable. It was in leaning into the stretch. Discomfort, once an enemy, became her ally. That willingness to sit with the unfamiliar made her unstoppable. Because growth, she learned, often hides in the uncomfortable spaces we're most tempted to avoid. She learned that growth isn't constant motion. It's also in the pause. Maybe she took time off to recharge or said no to avoid burnout. People might say, "You really honor your energy," or "You know when to step back." Her ability to rest without guilt was her power. She realized that rest wasn't laziness, it was preparation. That balance, that rhythm of action and stillness made her stronger. By honoring her need to recover, she showed others that growth requires care, that resilience is built not just through effort, but through rest too. She grew by understanding her emotions instead of avoiding them. Maybe she paused before reacting in anger or identified sadness beneath her stress. People began to say, "You always respond with clarity," or "You have such emotional depth." Her emotional intelligence wasn't about hiding feelings. It was about navigating them with awareness. That inner clarity allowed her to connect deeper with others, to lead with empathy. Her growth became emotional maturity, proving that intelligence isn't just what you know, it's how you feel, process, and respond with grace. She realized that her purpose wasn't something to find, it was something to build, piece by piece. Maybe she explored different passions or followed a curiosity that led to meaning. People saw her alignment and might say, "You seem so fulfilled," or "You found your calling." Her purpose didn't arrive as a grand revelation. It emerged through continuous growth. Each lesson she learned shaped her path. That sense of purpose, born through effort and insight, grounded her. It became her compass, and her journey showed others that growth and purpose walk hand in hand. She discovered that real growth often meant unlearning what no longer served her. Maybe it was a childhood belief, a cultural norm, or a limiting mindset. People might say, "You've outgrown your past," or "You think so freely now." Her strength was in questioning the familiar and making room for truth. Unlearning wasn't about rejection, it was about evolution. That bravery to rewire her thinking allowed her to expand. Her journey of shedding old layers became a symbol that true learning isn't always about adding more. It's also about clearing space to become who you were always meant to be. She stopped mimicking others and started trusting her own voice. Maybe she wrote words that finally sounded like her or made choices that felt deeply authentic. People noticed and might say, "You speak with such clarity," or "Your voice feels so real." Her voice wasn't about volume, it was about truth. It came from experience, from reflection, from learning who she really was. That authenticity made her magnetic, and in speaking her truth, she gave others the courage to speak theirs too, proving that finding your voice is one of the most powerful forms of growth. She understood that growth wasn't a phase, it was a way of life. Every lesson, every choice, every question brought her closer to her best self. People looked at her journey and might say, "You inspire me to grow," or "You make transformation look possible." But the truth is, her journey is not unique. It's available to all of us. Growth isn't for the few, it's for the willing. And now it's your turn. Embrace curiosity. Welcome discomfort. Seek knowledge. Let go, reflect, rise, and begin again. You don't need permission. You don't need perfection. You just need to begin. So ask yourself today, what is one step I can take toward becoming my best self? Take it. The journey won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because the best version of you is still unfolding, and you were never meant to stop growing.